This is twice that we've been on time. Welcome, everybody, to our Tuesday, February 12th City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Thank you. We have no special presentation, no ordinances final read. Madam Clerk, that takes us to ordinances first read. Let's go with 6A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone part of property located at southwest of the 500 block of Kestrel Lane, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone to RTZ, residential townhouse 0 lot line zone, and UGC general commercial zone.
All right. Is the applicant present? Yes. Is there any opposition present? Councilman Henderson, what's your pleasure?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did hear this in planning and zoning last week, and I've got no objections. However, after I make a motion for approval, I am going to make a motion for an amendment that has to do with steep slopes. So at this time, I move to approve.
Second.
All right.
Now I'd like to move to amend by the following. Land disturbance of any slope greater than 30% shall be limited to 2 acres total. That's in the form of a motion.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've got a motion and a second for the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, now I move to approve as amended.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second to approve as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. All right. Thank you, sir. B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to lift conditions 1 through 4 of ordinance number 10781, a previous case number 1998-187, off property located at 6550 Lee Highway, more particularly described herein.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman Byrd?
Move approval.
Thank you. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. C, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 3220 William Street and 1121 West 33rd Street, more particularly described herein from M1 manufacturing zone to UGC urban general commercial zone.
All right, is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
All right, thank you, sir. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. D, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone part of an unaddressed and unparceled former railroad right-of-way located along the west line of the 1500 through 1700 blocks of Adams Street, more particularly described herein from UPK Urban Parks and Open Space Zone to URM3 Urban Residential Multi-Unit Zone with 3 stories maximum height, and UCX3 Urban Commercial Mixed-Use Zone with 3 stories maximum height.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Oglesby?
Yeah,
It's on.
Mr. Chair, so I can make sure that we get the right part in the record, Josh. We had part of it where the applicant request be denied, approved the rezoning, so just
Sure.
read what actually needs to be for the record.
Sure. If you're recommending the planning commission version?
Yes.
Okay. Planning commission version was basically the applicant's request. But let me give me 1 second. Make sure I get to that right case. almost there. Here we go. Okay, there are, it's more particularly described herein, I guess there's the legal part in terms of the part of an unaddressed and unparceled formal railroad right-of-way being bounded on the north by the south line of 400 block of East Main Street, on the west line of Central Avenue and Georgia Railroad Company right-of-way, on the south by the north line of the unopened portion of the 500 block of Kennedy Alley, and on the east by the west line of the 1500 block of Adams Street. To be rezoned to URM3, an unaddressed and unparceled formal railroad right-of-way being bounded by the north line of an unopened portion of the 500 block of Kennedy Alley, on the west by the east line of Central and Georgia Railroad Company right-of-way, on the south by the north line of the 1800 block of Rossville Avenue, and on the east by west line of the 1500 through the 1700 blocks of Adams Street. That was a mouthful. That's basically the legal description of those portions that would be rezoned for that property.
Thank you, John. I move to approve.
All right, thank you, sir. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Thank you. E, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 916 East 14th Street, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone to UGC urban general commercial zone, subject to certain conditions.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Byrd?
Hello? Okay, John, could you come in for a second? Could you read the conditions for me?
Okay, currently, as proposed by Planning Commission, give me 1 second. Those conditions would be no auto-oriented uses, no adult-oriented establishments, and no hospitals.
You know, hospitals. And can I also add in the conditions that there will be no commercial on this as well, that it will be residential?
Just offer that as an amendment, I believe, to the
That will be as
planning.
an amendment? So, okay, first, I would I have to approve it first?
Move for approval.
Then, first, I would like to move for approval. And then I would like to move to amend that there will be no commercial, only residential. And then I would like to ask for a motion to a second. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Russell. All right,
Still, you got the,
Not allow any commercial.
okay.
I'm good.
All right, we've got a motion and a second on the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Now I need a motion to approve as amended.
Okay, motion to approve as amended. Thank you.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to approve as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. All right, thank you. F, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 2308 and 2314 East 13th Street, more particularly described herein from R2 residential zone to UGC urban general commercial zone.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Byrd.
Yes. I have to do the same thing with this one. Could you come in for a second, John?
Yes, sir.
And could you read the conditions of this zoning?
Okay, I don't think this one has any conditions currently.
Okay, this, first, I would like to move to approve, and then I would like to amend. And the amendments I would like to make is that the business hours will be from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays and from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on weekends. Also would like to add that dumpster service will be prohibited between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Also, the property will be used for the stated purpose of a private event hall only. And I'd like to move as amended. Okay.
Trying, yes.
All right. I've got a motion and a second for the amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay.
And then I would like to move as amended.
All right, I now have a motion and a second to move as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Thank you, sir. G, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 527 O'Neill Street, more particularly described herein from R3 residential zone to R4 special zone, subject to limited uses only.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Byrd?
Yes, for the record, could you please read the limited use for me, John?
Get to that case, 1 second. Here's the following conditions. Limited to single-family, two-family, and multiple-family dwellings excluding manufactured homes constructed on a single self-contained unit and mounted on a single chassis. 2, lodging houses, boarding houses, and bed and breakfast. And 3, fraternal, professional, or hobby clubs. Those are the 3 uses that would be allowed.
Okay, thank you. Move to approve.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. H, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1101 South Watkins Street, more particularly described herein from M1 Manufacturing Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman?
Sure. Has 4 conditions. 1, hours of business operations shall be limited to between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. 2, auto-oriented uses as defined by the Chattanooga zoning regulations, section 38-201, shall be prohibited. 3, no outdoor amplifications. And 4, dumpsters allowed on property with trash pickup between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. That's for condition number 1, right?
Not yet. All right, I've got a motion and a second for the amendment to change the time to 7 a.m. on condition 1. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Okay. Now I need a motion to approve as amended. All right. Got a motion and a second to approve as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. All right, aye, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a sewer easement located in the 800 block of Airport Road as detailed on the attached map.
Pleasure of the council. Anybody? It's yours, you know. Just making sure. All right. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. Jay, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning the 100 to 300 blocks of East 25th Street for the construction of a new Howard High School track and field complex as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Move to approve. Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Okay, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a portion of the intersection of the 900 block of East 14th Street and the 1400 block of Fagan Street to facilitate future development as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Councilman Byrd.
To approve.
All right. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Bell, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a portion of the 800 block of Daisy Street to facilitate future development as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Councilman Byrd.
Move to approve.
All right. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. Down to resolutions now. Madam Clerk, 7A.
A resolution to amend Resolution Number 29451 entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Approval of Change Order Number 1 CDM Smith, Inc., relative to the contract number W120240101, MBWWTP Solids Process Optimization Implementation, Phase 3 Centrifuge and Digester Upgrades, a consent decree project for an increased amount of $334,500 for the revised contract amount of $1,708,050 to change the contract number to W160240101.
Councilman Henderson.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. B, please.
A resolution authorizing the award of contract number W160210201 to Heron Construction Company, Inc. of Etowah, Tennessee, MBWWTP Recycle Pump Stations and North Drain System Upgrades, a non-consent decree project in the amount of $1,482,000 with a contingency amount of $148,000 for an amount not to exceed $1,630,000.
Councilman Henderson.
Move approval.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. C, please.
A resolution authorizing the approval of change order number 1 final for Ross Glass and Aluminum LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, relative to contract number R14012-202, Holmberg Bridge Panel Replacement Phase 2, for an increased amount of $43 to release the remaining contingency in the amount of $20,914 for a revised contract amount of $519,043.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. D, please.
A resolution authorizing Chattanooga Sign-O-Rama, care of Stephanie McCormick, on behalf of applicant Matthew Mihoki, to use temporarily the right-of-way located at 330 Fraser Avenue, Suite 100, for the purpose of installing a projecting sign as shown on the maps attached hereto and made a part hereof by reference subject to certain conditions.
I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. E, please.
A resolution authorizing Reagan Smith Associates, care of J.E. Floyd, on behalf of property owner Wine Properties, care of Ricky Etherton, to use temporarily the right-of-way located between 2800 and 2806 8th Avenue for the purpose of paving the unopened right-of-way and adjoining parking lot as shown on the maps attached hereto and made a part hereof by reference subject to certain conditions.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. F, please.
A resolution authorizing Mark Wintermer on behalf of property owner Kevin C. Boehm to use temporarily the right-of-way located at 1010 Market Street for the purpose of installing fabric awnings and outdoor seating as shown on the maps attached hereto and made a part hereof by reference subject to certain conditions.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. G, please.
A resolution authorizing Chattanooga Sign-O-Rama, care of Stephanie McCormick, on behalf of applicant Drew Cox and property owner TDK Construction, care of Tim Keach, to use temporarily the right-of-way located at 1400 Chestnut Street for the purpose of installing a projecting sign as shown on the maps attached hereto and made a part hereof by reference subject to certain conditions.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you very much. That finishes our main agenda items. Madam Clerk, we have no purchases. Is that correct? Takes us to other business. Is there anybody on the council with other business? I see Councilman Gilbert.
Yes, Chair. This coming Friday at 7:30, we're having a free event at Venue Church located at 6401 Lee Highway. We have a 3-time Grammy Award. Travis Green is going to be there. So if you have anything to do, come and see him. He's fantastic.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there any other business? All right, seeing none, we go to committee reports. Councilwoman Burrs. Councilman Burke.
Hello? Okay, we had an amazing presentation, a public art plan presentation by the Art Commission today in Economic and Community Development.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Coonrod?
YFD presented today the Chattanooga Ambassador Program and Our Brother's Keeper, and also Area provided an update on Duke Family Connect program for early childhood education.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Councilman Gilbert.
Yes, Chair, February 26th, we have an educational section for HR on GARE.
All right. Thank you, sir. Councilman Henderson.
Just a reminder that next week, February the 19th, starting at 1 p.m., we will be having a public safety meeting with Chief Roddy in our council conference room.
All right. Thank you, sir. Councilman Ledford.
No report, Chairman.
Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We will have a Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting next week following agenda session.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Oglesby.
No report.
All right, thank you. We've now reached the time in our agenda of recognition of persons wishing to address the council on non-agenda items. Is there anybody here this evening that would like to address the council? All right, please come forward. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir. At the end of the council has adopted rules, and the chairperson will recognize members of the public that wish to address the council from the microphone. Each speaker coming up there should be recognized only at the microphone. You can have no more than 5 minutes to speak, and you can only address the council upon things that are within their authority, which are legislative and quasi-judicial matters before the council. Don't use any vulgar, obscene language. Don't personally attack or personally denigrate others. And don't address the council members individually, if you would. And the chair can't recognize anyone more than two times in a 30-day time period. I believe you're fine, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good evening, council. My name is Hannah Kuhn. I've been here many times now, although still shamefully not enough. I am here tonight to present a new issue before you, the conservation of our river. Although the city, state, and nation have been dealing with this problem for some time, we find ourselves in a position where our efforts were not enough. With the new Knox News recent article that has been widely circulated this week, we actually find our river comparing to pollution levels on an international scale. The Tennessee River is now a hotbed of microplastic pollution. A quote from the report: while differing methods of measuring and reporting make direct comparisons a challenge, according to geology and hydrology professor Dr. Martin Knoll of the University of South and Sewanee, microplastic levels in the Tennessee River are among the highest ever measured. Some of the comparisons made were to the Rhine River in Germany and the Yangtze River in China, neither of which contained even half the particles of plastic in the tests done. The Tennessee River spiking at 18,000 microplastic particles per cubic meter of water. Yangtze River was around 9,000 to my recollection, and Rhine River was around 900 to my recollection, so they don't compare. I am sure, like many legislative bodies, you are wondering what you can do about this catastrophic problem. But I will meet your question, which is a natural question, with a story. It is probably not an unfamiliar one, at least I hope. It is about a small town in the South. Just like everywhere else in the country, the industrial era had taken its toll. The air was thick with chemicals and byproducts of the surrounding businesses. By the 1960s, the situation had reached a fever pitch. There were stories of businessmen's white shirts becoming yellow after just a half day, and women's stockings corroding because of the air. When Chattanooga had finally decided to clean up their air, it took only 3 years, although the sum of money it took to limit industrial pollution was $250 million, a huge investment, admittedly. In a new century, we find ourselves facing another huge problem, although also caused because of industrialization. And while, as many articles suggest, we can all do our best to limit our excess plastic usage, I see more than one pathway needed to solve this problem, more than one approach. One will be legislative bodies like yourselves making this your problem. In the 1960s, it wasn't every individual person in Chattanooga limiting how much they drove their car. It was legislators and groups of citizens. It was our Chattanooga city and groups of citizens organizing to limit pollution in Chattanooga. That was why we were able to go from being the dirtiest city in the nation to an outdoor wonderland. So, which is, by the way, pretty much what we build our whole entire character after in Chattanooga. So I challenge both the community and also the body of legislators to make this their problem. I grew up in this city with the impression that this was our river, and I believe that, I really do. So I also believe we should make this our problem. I will work with our community leaders to start organizing for this issue at a higher level than we've ever seen, because obviously it requires a higher level than we've ever seen. I mean, this really does just break my heart that we have a situation in our city where we have some of the dirtiest water and some of the highest micropollutions you've ever seen in the entire world in our city. And so while I understand that that doesn't make it our singular problem, I really hope that this body can challenge themselves to think in new ways, to find a new direction by limiting maybe just the amount our city admits in plastic, right? Our city surely contributes to that problem. We as individuals surely contribute to that problem. But as a body of legislators, I hope that you will meet the corporations in our city, the corporations that meet this, that are causing this problem, and challenge them to fix this, whether it be through legislation, whether it be through scientists working on ways to clean our river, or whether it be through, as individuals, working and trying not to use as much plastic. I know this is a hard problem, but I really hope that we can do something about it as a city. We did it once. I know we can do it again. You did it once. I know you can do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Right down to it. Is there anybody else wishing to address the council?
Council members and fellow citizens, I'm here today basically to make an introduction.
Give us your name first.
Oh, I'm Joseph Boswell with the YMCA, and I'm here today to introduce the YMCA Leaders Club, a group of high school students and today a middle school student to their local government. And I remember I didn't go to my first council meeting. I wasn't in this city until I was in my 20s. And I realized how close y'all were to me. This was in Texas at the time, but I realized here I could actually speak to my elected officials and address things, and it's really just this easy to talk to your elected officials. And each one of these members represents somewhere that you live, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're all available to meet with them or their families about an issue that you may want to talk to the city about. In our group, we have some students that want to get into business, definitely an activist or two, some people into music and arts, and maybe a future elected official. So that's about it. And if anybody has any words of wisdom or introductions to this process, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boswell. Welcome to everybody. This is actually a little bit quicker than normal on a planning night, so you missed a lot of the excitement we normally have. But I will say this, please come again, and as often as you can. It is definitely an incredible process that we go through, and the exposure and the comfort level that you may be given being in here at this stage could certainly serve you later, depending on what it is that you do want to do in the future. So we appreciate you taking an interest in being here. Thank you. Next, anybody else? I'm seeing some.
Good evening to the council, constituents. My name is Anthony Gladden. I just came to speak a minute in reference to a program, myself and two different programs we got started. I started a Choices with Chess program, was working with Councilwoman Coonrod and Councilman Byrd, last school year, they came in and called for volunteers for some of the more at-risk schools. Myself and a couple other guys, we chose to concentrate on Dalewood Middle School as well as Archinaut Middle School. We came in and wanted to teach the kids chess. My reason for choosing chess was because I did a lot of research and I learned that it was a chess pilot program that started in Chicago to curb violence in the inner city of Chicago. Ended up working real good. They had like a 95% graduation rate where all the students who took part in the chess program ended up going to college and succeeding. So what I did, I went over to Archinaut Middle School with a couple other guys, and we didn't get in Dalewood, but we did get in Archinaut Middle School, and we got a real good response from the students who participated. Ended up excelling. We've been keeping up with them, seeing how they been doing and building relationships with them. And the purpose in the chess program is to give kids the opportunity to make better choices. If you ever research chess, it's a good tool to hone the brain mechanics and decision making, situational choices that you have to make. And we thought it would be good. Going forward, we've also transitioned into some of the rec centers in the city with the program, so it's really doing good and getting a good response. I was able to connect with Thomas Lane. He's the chess instructor over at Chattanooga Prep School. We connected, and now we've partnered to try to work together and use both our resources to try to get it citywide. Thomas wanted to come today and talk about something we had, a little program we were trying to work on, so I let him talk.
So, my name's Thomas Lane, and I moved to Chattanooga in the fall of 2016. This is my home. I love this place. Moved here to start a scholastic chess program, and the idea behind it was to get kids to make more intentional decisions both on and off the board. And for me, it's a lot more than chess. To learn the game, you got to put yourself out there. You got to test ideas, fail spectacularly, come back to the board and keep trying, learn, grow. And ultimately, I believe that process is a lot like what it looks like to be successful in anything in life, whether you're starting a business or whether you're trying to be an artist, a musician, whatever it is, putting in the effort, putting in the time, growing and developing your skills. So I'm really thankful Councilwoman Coonrod connected me with Anthony a few weeks ago, and we've been talking about hosting a block party, maybe in Highland Park in April or May, and hosting a chess tournament. So the idea would be that we would get adults from around the community to find sponsors, businesses, local businesses to sponsor them, set them up for this tournament, and help raise funds to pilot our chess programs in the city, as well as provide a couple scholarships to graduating high school students. I think chess can be a couple of different things, and maybe you could consider it a board game, a game of war, two people battling it out. But when you get down to it, you have folks connecting, looking each other in the eye, sitting across the table. Chess transcends race, transcends language, transcends socioeconomic barriers. And in my mind, I envision in 5-10 years, we have a whole group of young people from all across the city getting together to play chess. And not just that, but if we're intentional about that programming, we can bring those parents together. Active engagement, interaction. So I'll leave you with a question. Is chess an opportunity? Is it this war game, drawing lines in the sand, or is it an opportunity to connect, to grow, have fun together? Anyways, thank you. I guess I still have 2 minutes left. I'm a little bit nervous. So I ask you, what are some ways that you can help? I've been here 2 years. What are some ways that you can help us on our mission, connect us with some local nonprofits in town, really build this event up, make it great? We have a few months to get the word out, to find all the chess players in town, get them together. I'm not really one for microphones. Is it okay if I just...
Nope.
Can I stand right here without the mic? Is that acceptable?
This is being recorded, so
That's a
for
bummer.
public,
Okay.
public record.
I'll hold it up. So I just feel like I'm leaned over a little bit. I think the reason I do the work I do is because a lot of the problems that I see in our world don't have top-down solutions. It's about individuals making better choices on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the food that you eat, whether it's the words that you choose to write or type on the internet, whether it's the way you choose to use your time on social media. There's endless opportunities for distraction. How often do we waste our time? And I believe chess can help us become more intentional. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Good evening. My name is Austin Sauerbry. I'm with the Chattanooga Area Labor Council, and I'll be super brief tonight. Pretty much just wanted to be able to share who we are. We're the Chattanooga Labor Council, and we represent working men and women all across this community. Many of the folks that help build our city, many of the folks that help keep our city running. And I just wanted to let you know we have folks here tonight from the Labor Council representing many sectors of working folks. If you want to stand up if you're with the Labor Council real quick. Awesome. And as a council of working people that are working every day in the city to keep the city running, to build the city, we are deeply committed as a union of unions to making sure that this city grows in a way that benefits everyone, that average, everyday working people have a continued place in this city. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves and say thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for the work you do. We would love to connect with y'all tonight if y'all have a minute, and also in the near future we'd love to connect with y'all one-on-one. But yeah, thank you so much for the work you do, and we're excited to meet y'all in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, good evening. I'm Gary Ball. I'm representing my company, Tower Construction, tonight. I just something came across my desk today. I was in City Attorney Noblett's office a week and a half ago. I've been here twice before on this wandering issue of surplus property, real property sales, and the city's liens and tax liens. I've been trying for a year to get it answered. I thought the last time I was here, I had a private conversation with Mr. Noblett, and I thought I understood it until I picked up the real property sale for Hamilton County this week. And on one of the pages is 1001 South Holly Street, which is a piece of property that we bid on through an RFP about 7 months ago from ECD, and they claimed that that property had to be brought back as a affordable housing project, and that's the only way you could buy it. And so we've been back and forth on this real property, on this lien issue, because of the memorandum that they sent us that came from Mr. Noblet's office. So now I got confused again because the minimum bid on this piece of property now that's out for the general public, which Ms. Williams' office claimed wasn't going to happen because it was city surplus property, now appears to be the minimum bid $1,000. So I'm here tonight to ask, before I go to the sale one last time, if somebody in the city of Chattanooga would at least put something in writing so this convoluted issue can be resolved before we go bid on it the first time. Because the way I was explained to it, and I understood it perfectly with Mr. Noblet, and I went to Ms. Morgan this week, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, gave her our initial request through ECD, who now says they're handling that on property bought from the county at the property sale, that those liens were supposed to be forgiven when the city and the county signed the quitclaim deed after that sale. But now I'm confused. Does this property that's being offered this year by the county come with those liens attached, or is it to be bought without those liens now that it's in this sale? And the second question I have now, because Mr. Butler is an attorney in ECD, the second question I have now is all the other surplus property that they're still holding, that they're saying if we bought it this year, and we haven't bought any of it because of the interpretation of the memorandum from February 28, 2018. So does that property still come with those things attached, or can people come in and just buy it carte blanche and have the liens removed? So I don't know whether you're aware of this, Mr. Noblet, or not. I don't know whether you're aware that they put this in the sale, but it confuses the issue even more.
No, sir, I'm not aware of it being in the sale. In that regard, the city's position is that unless there is a state law provision that says that that lien goes away, it remains with the property. And that is the issue here as to when that lien was imposed by ECD. And if it is after the back tax sale because they've cleaned up the property, then the city taxpayers deserve getting paid off of their municipal lien.
Okay, so if this is in there, then it should be the city, not your office anymore, because now I was told that ECD's the one that submits the papers to get rid of the liens. So according to that, if we bought that at the sale, it should be forgiven, correct?
No, sir. If it is bought at the sale with and the lien has been added after the tax sale occurred, it would still be on the property.
After the tax sale last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
That still doesn't answer, it's still the confusing issue, but I understand that thing.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody else who would like to address the council this evening? Seeing none, we are adjourned.